Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris from MediaFreshPress.com, and this is Nathaniel from One More Cup of Coffee, and we are here like we are every week to try to tame this calamity known as fresh coffee. This week we're going to be talking about keywords, ranking factors, and how to use those to find great niches, and that's it. Hopefully we'll have some good discussions, and you guys will ask a lot of great questions.
Can you hear me this far from the microphone?
Absolutely. Sounds great, actually.
It's surprising. I'm at least a foot away. It's just weird with my the monitor being so tall, and then I got this fat, my lower third I made too fat, so if I get all close to the screen, it looks you guys can interview the top of my head. Anyway, it's good timing for this topic. I didn't even plan it this way. I started building a new niche site this week. I don't know if I quite want to do the reveal yet, because what I'm thinking is, and again, this is setting myself up for failure. Every time I try to do a case study, I lose interest. I don't know why. Well, I know why I'm starting the new site, because it's like I found this keyword, and it just happened to be like an interest of mine. And the more I looked into it, I was like, this is good traffic stats, a lot of interests, like just in general in the US and North America and sort of the Western world, a lot of interest in this topic. Definitely money to be made. There's like some good products, some good digital products and physical products. It just started like all the pieces fit together. But then I was like, do I need to start another niche site? My beer site finally made a couple sales. I told you guys last week I made a sale on Amazon. Then, which I wanted to mention, I think that's only from social media efforts, because I looked at the keyword. I'm not ranking for anything related to the keyword. I'm pretty sure that was from social media. I just don't know who it was. But I made another sale, which was pretty amazing. I sold a $5,000 product, and so I made a over $300 commission. So that was pretty nice. But it was only one, and my original goal this year was to make $100 a month for the beer site. So basically, if I could make two more sales this year, I'll meet that goal. Then it's like my beer site is just getting some traction. Do I want to start another site? I don't know. I kind of want to outsource some content, but I've never really had good luck with getting content that converts. As we talked about, I think last week or the week before, with writers. Even with decent writers, it's just like bland articles that are purely informational filler content. So I don't know if I want to go through that whole rigmarole. But the other side of me is like, if I could just get the basics up, exactly what we were talking about last week with Media Fresh Press, get a basic site up, get some basic pages up, and let it stew. Add one post a month for a year. If it's 1,000 words, that's 12,000 words. My math is terrible. It's 12,000 words that are stewing on the site. So what if it sits around for a year or two? Like if it's got content on there and some traffic, I don't even have to monetize it. It's sort of like a time investment for the future. Better start now and slow cook it for a year, than wait 12 months and then blast it out and be like, where's my traffic?
Yeah, man, that's one mistake I made with this new little case study site, is that, and I'm a firm believer in, like not necessarily letting it like stew, but kind of the same concept. Add content just every now and then without adding any affiliate links. And I went through there and just without even thinking about it, I added a couple affiliate links, which I could probably go back and take them off, but it's just something I wish I hadn't done. And we've talked about, now a few times we've talked about building sites and kind of letting them sit for, quite a while. I mean, I think you just said, more than a year or so. um, starting to think about that kind of stuff more and more because, for one, at the very least, you've got a domain name, um, which are, those are worth, something anyway, regardless of what's there or what's not there. And then after you've let it sit for a while, especially if you're adding content on a consistent type of basis, I mean, that's going to give you a little bit of, that fine wine flavor there. That's going to give you that domain age that we talked about last week. So, I don't know, it seems like a good strategy the more I think about it.
There's, I don't know, niche sites are really interesting to me. There's a lot of things you said that are topics we've got in our list here that I want to hit. The thing that really strikes did we say strike a chord in me? Anyway, the thing that stuck out you said is buying a domain name, and that has been the bane of my existence this weekend. It has been such a pain in the ass buying this domain name, and I know it's one of those things. Do what I say, not what I do. I tell people, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't need a keyword-rich domain. Buy something that's brandable. Pick something you like. I literally sat in front of Jaxie and GoDaddy, and I ended up buying it from Namecheap just because GoDaddy is a pain in the ass too. And sitting in it for 6 hours, and there's just so many domain squatters. It's unbelievable. And like, not even just talking about the domain squatters, just other people who, like, I thought I was really clever. Like, I sat down, I listed all this stuff, and I thought of a couple ideas where I actually laughed out loud because I was like, this is genius. No one's going to have it. And I looked it up, and there was like 2 other people who thought of the same idea.
Yeah, I've been through that same thing several times. Actually, when I bought Media Fresh Press, man, I think I beat my head against the wall for 2 days. I had this list of domains, and I just could not pick one, man. And I was trying to, balance the pros and cons, and I kept going back and checking the keywords for each one. And it was ridiculous.
So yeah, I think you ended up with a good one. Like, it's definitely brandable. Like, it's got a ring to it. So it may not, it may not be a keyword thing, but I think for a social media site, there's so many people targeting keywords in the niche anyway. You might as well pick something that's a bit snappy, snazzy.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted something that, I like the fresh thing in there anyway. And I can't remember how I came up with it. I was reading a lot of Huffington Post at the time. And I kept wanting to get like Christopher Post and all this crap. And I had just started writing at Examiner. So the reason I needed this site, I didn't really need it to rank for anything, or it didn't have to be keyword rich or nothing like that. I just needed a site that was going to be good in my byline. So like, nothing that I was doing as an affiliate at the time would have worked. Like, here, read more about Chris's, or about Chris here. Go to like $-shave-club.com. That just don't work. So that's why I bought it. It was just really a place for me to. It's basically chriscloutier.com, but somebody already owns that.
So when you go and buy a domain, what's at the top of your list as far as like factors that play into your mind if you're going to buy a domain in a niche or just for general use? I don't know, a name site, like an affiliate site or a site for whatever writing stuff you want to do.
Yeah, I think now, man, going back and kind of going through everything, I think I would really focus on a keyword, maybe not totally rich, keyword-rich domain, but I think not just for SEO, but like when you have the keyword in the domain, or at least a similar keyword or something to do with the keyword, I think it helps people when they land on the site. So like, John Morrow's site is boost blog traffic, right? So when people see that domain name or when they land on the site, they don't really have to wonder what is this site about. You know what I mean? Whereas when they land on Media Fresh Press, they're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? You know?
Yeah. I agree with that. Even if you get kind of like a not necessarily an exact match domain, but something that's descriptive. Exactly what you said, boost blog traffic. That may have been a keyword, but I'm sure the brandability of it, it's just like it's a phrase. That's what you want to do, and that's why you visit the site. One thing that I did notice, that despite the exact match domain update and people saying like EMDs no longer carry weight, when I was doing this research into this niche, a lot of EMDs were ranking, and a lot of them had crappy content. So EMDs are still ranking, and they still it definitely played a role in my choice of domain for this niche. The beer site, I did a brand. One More Cup of Coffee, obviously, is a brand. I went with the keyword route with this one, kind of descriptive keyword, not exact keyword, but close. Just because that's what I saw ranking.
Yeah, I actually wrote a post about this a few weeks ago, something like that. I don't really understand why. Well, I do understand why everybody says the EMDs are dead or whatever, but they still rank, man. Some of the easiest rankings I've ever got from exact match domains. I just think that when people get them, that of course, they get them for the wrong reasons. They expect the domain to do all the work, and think because they've got an EMD, they can pretty much. I mean, maybe not this far, but they can kind of do whatever they want. They can kind of throw a bunch of links at it and maybe put thin content on it, stuff like that, because it's an EMD. I think Google looks at them harder now. But that doesn't mean that they can't rank.
Have you ever bought a .org or .net?
Yeah. Actually, I've had a few .orgs. I think I've had one .net. I had a .biz. I actually got a .biz to rank one time. I can't even remember what it was now though. Something easy though. But yeah, I've owned all those.
Yeah, I only owned one .org out of all the over 100 domains that I've bought over the past couple of years. I've only owned one .org, no .nets. I did own a bunch of .infos that I ranked back in the day. You saw my post that I did in WA. Those are all .infos. That's what I used to buy. It was like $10 for a domain. I'll buy them for 99 cents.
Did you got rankings out of some of those too, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, that was back in the day when, you could hit it with a bunch of, anchor text backlinks and you could rank for it. But I did rank for the .infos, and they still get traffic and they still make money. So
Yeah.
the interesting thing, because I was looking into some of those unique domain extensions, the new ones. There's .link, .guru, .club. I don't know why I was looking at GoDaddy, and the .club one they're really pushing that one. That's like high up there. I don't know how many clubs they think there are out there. What were some other ones? .guru. I can't think of any off the top of my head. But none of them rank. They're not anywhere. I don't know why anyone would buy them.
They're pretty new extensions, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that could be why they're not ranking yet. It probably is, but yeah. Where did you see all these at?
Just when you search in GoDaddy or Namecheap, they'll give recommendations.
I didn't realize the .gurus and stuff are already like out at Namecheap and all those.
Yep.
Interesting.
So they're really trying to push them. In fact, I'm gonna look it up right now.
But Yeah, so the kind of the reason we got off on this is because I've been looking at the Moz, their little ranking factor chart, and then you posted the one from LinkedIn, and it's really interesting to see all the stuff that's on these charts, man. Um, it's crazy. Uh, EMDs were actually up there higher than I thought they would be, but it's not like a big deal. But um, plus ones and all that stuff are always at the top of that list.
Hold on, I lost my. Still having trouble keeping track of my windows in my Mac. Let's see. I lost you. There you are. Okay. Yeah, so I typed in starbuckscoffee.com, obviously not available. Got starbuckscoffee.club. It's the first one they recommend. Second one is starbuckscoffee.xyz, starbuckscoffee.uno, and then they have some variations on the .com, for me.com, for you.com, .co.za, which is South Africa, .company, .today, .guru, .house.
So Starbucks.club is available.
Starbuckscoffee.club.
Oh, coffee. Okay, yeah, okay.
Let's see, Starbucks.club. Not available. Starbucks.catering, Starbucks.bike.
Did I lose you?
You there? Well, I'm not sure if we lost me or Chris. Hello? It's wrong number. Yep. Okay, so I guess everyone can see me and not Chris. We're going to try to get Chris back in the webinar. Yeah, anyway, just so people don't get bored while we're trying to figure this out, let's see if I can remember what we were talking about. The domain extensions. Basically, as far as what I've seen, the research that I did for this niche that I'm going for right now, nothing was ranking except for .coms and then a couple .orgs, and that's all I ever see. Very rarely I'll run into like a .net, but I don't think I've never seen these crazy domain extensions. Sometimes a .tv, which I didn't know. I think we got Chris back. Hey, Chris.
I'm here. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened.
It's all right. .tvs. I thought .tvs were specifically created for like video niches or vlogging, or a lot of podcasts use them, I think. But they're not. They're a domain extension from a specific country, some island country, and the government, I think they loaned or sold, or some sort of monetary transaction happened where now these domains are available for the public, and they're used for these blogs and podcasts and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like the Destin.tv or something like that. I used to think they were just for videos and stuff too. But um, do you know, are they any more expensive than the regular domains, or?
I don't know.
I didn't know if that's why you brought it up or what.
Check it out right now.
When I look for a domain, I never. Matter of fact, I don't even look at the .net or .orgs anymore. If the .com isn't available, I just move on. So.
The .tvs are $40 for the first year.
That's probably why I don't ever look at them.
Yeah, that was another hard thing that I had to decide. Like, I had awesome keyword in a .org or so-so keyword in a .com, and that's just like I would stress about finding these good keywords, and I'd finally find one at .org, and then I'd have to decide, do I want to commit the next decade to a .org where I'm not 100% sure where the ranking power is as good as a .com. It might be overthinking things. It's just one of the tiny ranking factors, or I mean, who knows how big of a ranking factor it is. It's just one of the things that contributes to a site's ranking, and it's kind of like how much do you want for your site and against the site.
Yeah, I'm trying to look this up and see what that chart said about .coms and stuff like that. But another reason that I really like the .coms is because that's what most people think about, like when they hear a name or something like that. Most people don't go like Starbucks.org or nothing like that. Well, they might if they have a reason, but it's like somebody says, "Hey, I found this really cool site that sells motorcycle helmets." It was something, it was something motorcycle, something, I can't remember. Chances are that person is going to go home and type in at .com, right? So that's one thing I think about. And those kind of searches actually do contribute to your ranking. Those are actually a ranking factor. So when people are searching your brand name, and I guess there's some kind of signal or something, probably through social media and stuff like that, and they do it that way. But getting your domain name searched for is actually a ranking factor, contributor.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So
I always wonder about that, like mentions of your brand name. Like Google can read. They can read addresses, and then that affects local searches, where it doesn't have to be in a link form. If you have a brand name and that gets mentioned in social media without a link or not a link to your site, if there's any if that plays in any algorithm ranking or anything like that.
Yeah, I think you're talking about like social signals and stuff like that, which I mean that's kind of the same thing. I think just. That's one of the things I wanted to mention tonight, like that how SEO and stuff like that, all that stuff, but beyond on-page optimization is really breaking down into basic business networking. You know what I mean? Like I mean, you got guys on Google Plus now talking about relationship marketing and all this stuff. I mean, you didn't hear those kinds of things a few years ago. And that's, I think, because SEO is really just becoming about connections and branding yourself. And, I mean, that's like networking 101, right?
I was going to ask you about that because I don't know anything about offline business. What do you mean by like basic business networking?
Well, I mean, like I never went to business school or nothing like that, but just, growing up, my dad was always trying to work from home and stuff like that. And so, like, when you go out into the networking, you want to go to networking events, meet people and shake their hands, and some people hand out cards, some people do it with their shirt, a shirt that has a logo on it. You know, people drive around with their business name on their back windshield and stuff like that. That's they're branding themselves. When they network, they go to coffee shops and they. I mean, my uncle, he owns a roofing business, right? And everywhere he goes, man, he's either got at least a business card with him or his truck or car or something with a name on there. And he's always networking, man. He don't, he's he always takes a conversation back to where he wants it to go. And, I mean, so when those people, maybe a year or two down the road need a roof or whatever, they hit the phone book or wherever they go, and they remember him, and they're looking for him. So that's what I'm talking about, that type of networking. But I think it's done now in, like, social media, forums. Now they're even talking about, like, maybe SEO or the optimization can be done, like link building can be done through instant messaging apps like Skype. Stuff like that. So
Really? Instant messaging?
that's what I'm hearing lately, man. I mean, nobody really can say yes or no on that, but I've always wondered about that.
Huh. Yeah, I guess if you text the URL to someone, they're gonna click it. It clicks through. It has to be something.
Yeah. I can't remember. There's a name for it, but I can't remember it. But yeah, so it's just all about networking. When you go to some forum or something like that, or even out in the real world and you just talk about your business and stuff, and people come home and search for something. I mean, you want their name in your head, and when they do that search, that's a signal. You're branding yourself and you're improving your SEO. So, yeah, I think SEO has gotten a lot about branding and basic networking.
Huh. Well, okay, so far, the ranking factors that we talked about, we got domain extensions, brand mentions, obviously backlinks, content. We talk about content all the time. What is this, B links or blinks you have listed?
Yeah, backlinks. I was looking at.
Okay. I was like, what are blinks? Because there's a site that used to be, when people would do, what's that, social bookmarking. And there was like all these crazy sites where you could like, I think one of them was Blink. It was like blink.net and you'd blink it. And there was like Fark and you'd fark it. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Like stumble upon type stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so the backlinks there, you'll see backlinks are still big, and everybody's always talking about, they don't matter anymore. And I used to actually believe in that, but I think they do, man. I see stuff online all the time, and I'll do a little bit of research and find out that this crappy post has like 1,800 links pointing to it, and they're number one. So I'm really starting to think that links are still a big factor, man. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it goes back and forth. Like I made a post, or someone shared a post I wrote the other day that was like said something about Google's moving away from backlinks as a ranking factor, which I was pretty confident was a quote from. I don't know if that's exactly how he phrased it, but Matt Cutts said something about Google moving towards other factors other than just backlinks. And some guy jumped on there, some SEO expert, and he was like, "That's not true. Backlinks are still the most relevant way to rank content." Um, which I guess is true. I mean, backlinks, they're always going to play a factor in there. The question is, which links are going to do good for you and which links are going to do bad for you.
Yeah, yeah. So that goes into like the relevant quality links. Like if you've got a link from Huffington Post or if you've got a link from Joe's spammy affiliatesite.com, it's going to be two different links. At least that's what Google wants us to believe.
There's definitely some kinks to work out there because there's some lame domains ranking that clearly have done backlink work.
Yeah. I think that a lot of these guys get away with it because they don't do it at such a large scale. You know what I mean? Maybe they go buy a backlinks package, and that's just not their entire strategy. Maybe they're smart enough to know, like, I can't build backlinks from Fiverr all day long every day and expect it to work. I don't know, but I definitely think there's some spammy link purchasing going on there, and working. I mean, like, that's working.
Yeah. I just wonder about the longevity of stuff like that. That's why I stay away from any kind of backlinking, because like it may work temporarily. I know that it does work temporarily, but you never know which algorithm you're going to get caught in, and I just don't want to make that same mistake. Speaking of all these ranking factors, like one thing I've learned with One More Cup of Coffee is that despite any like lack of positive ranking factors you have on your site, you can still make money from your site. Because One More Cup of Coffee on on paper, if you look at any metric online, it's a crap site. So some of the ranking stuff I've looked at is pretty accurate, and some of it isn't. But particularly after I was testing out what's Longtail Pro, I was looking at some of the Moz domain authority and page rank of One More Cup of Coffee, and it looks basically like a new site. It's like a domain authority of like 15 or 20, and then a page rank, or I forget what the metrics are. Anyway, it's pretty poor compared to some other sites of friends that I have that are newer, but I still make income from One More Cup of Coffee. In fact, I make what some people would consider a full-time income, more than and I've complained about this before, like traffic experts who are like, oh, I get 1 million visits a month, and then they make like $1,000 off of AdSense revenue or something like that. So I broke a bunch of rules with it too. It's a long domain name, which people say is a spammy ranking factor. It's got a hyphen in it, another strike against me. It's got coffee in the domain name, and it's not even about coffee. So I've like got all these things stacked against me. But at the end of the day, like it's not about having a crafted SEO site, and it's about making money.
Yes. Okay, so this is like where we drop the microphone and go away now. Actually, there's a lot of stuff I want to say on what you just said there, man. First, though, I want to go back to the backlink thing really quick. I do agree with you. I think it's a short-term strategy, backlinking. I think it does work, but eventually you're going to get canned for it. And I do think that Google is and probably will find a way to do away with the backlinks. Not linking, but like measuring them for a ranking factor. I'm kind of looking forward to that day, and I'm kind of not. So, I mean, we'll see how that goes. But so back onto the other stuff you said there, like I think a lot of, because I look at your site all the time, man. Maybe not enough, really, but like I just think that you're so consistent. You put out a lot of content, and I want to look at this chart again, but it doesn't really matter because everybody knows that fresh content is a good. I mean, it's a signal, right? It tells Google, hey, I've got new content that come crawl your site. So Google is like what, visiting your site multiple times a day, in theory, because you're posting that often. You're doing reviews, which I mean, and especially the way you do them. I mean, they're scannable. It's good content. It's researched. It's consistent, and it's what the people that come there are looking for. It helps them make a decision right then. If not right then shortly thereafter. So, and you've got a call to action. I mean, so maybe your site isn't like formatted with the perfect, SEO guy mindset. But I think from a content standpoint, your site is kicking ass, man. And I think that's why. Um, and I've looked at your domain authority and stuff like that. Like I did a long tail pro search for our network because I wanted to see what your domain authority was. And it's like, it's like all these. I think they go to 100. So like here's at the top. I can't remember who it is. It's like 80, 60, 50. Then here's Nathaniel's like 18.
I think that's what it was. And like I was talking to Dom about this, and he was like, "Okay, well, your site's doing good, but how much better could it be doing? Like, what if I did focus more on keyword density, and what if I did focus more on on-page SEO stuff?" Like I was looking at some of the posts that I rank for, and a lot of the ones that I rank for good keywords have the keyword in the beginning of the title, not in the end. And so then I was thinking, what if I put more keywords at the beginning of the title? What if I did have some more backlinks? Like I've been working on it for a year. What if I did go buy a .edu backlink? Would Google reward or punish me for it? How much better could I be doing if I made a little bit more effort to do SEO to the site? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think you'd probably be okay putting a little bit of time into it, but I mean, again, the content thing, man, you're doing such a great job putting out consistent content that any time you take away from that, I mean, it's time away from that. So anytime you put into SEO or something like that, it takes away from the content. And even though we're sitting here talking about like exact match domains and backlinks and all this stuff, at least I want to believe that good content that people are, I don't want to say it, but people that are engaging with it and enjoying, I still think that that's probably the best thing you can do. You've got consistent traffic coming to the site, so I don't know, focus on them, it seems like to me. I know that sounds like what everybody else says too, but I think you're at an actual point where you can really take that advice. Somebody with one visit a day, that kind of advice isn't really going to help them at all.
Yeah. And, one thing I always have trouble advising people on is like I have the advantage that I have an infinite number of ideas. I mean, there's so many internet marketing products being created. I was just looking at the Warrior Forum stuff as I put myself on some Warrior Forum list, and some of these guys are making 2 or 3 product launches a month, which means I could do like 2 or 3 reviews a day and still not finish everything because there's still a bunch of stuff, old stuff that's around. So I have an infinite number of ideas, but some people are in niches where maybe you don't have that many ideas. I was watching this video from Spencer Hawes because of the Longtail Pro thing, and he did a niche site about killing bugs with something. Some sort of bug thing. And maybe not everyone wants to build an entire niche site with 1,000 blog posts about how to kill bugs. Maybe that's a signal you shouldn't make that site if that's not an interest of yours. But I think there's there's room in Google to have small niche sites with a good amount of good content that maybe are not huge authority domains. Like let's say there's 30 posts on there, um, but it's just not a site where you can expand it out that much. And how are those sites going to rank other than kind of artificially boosting rank with backlinks or um, digging into like more ranking factors other than the content train where you're like constantly producing, constantly producing.
Yeah, see, I don't know, man. I'm hoping that constantly producing content is going to be the answer to all my life's problems. I don't want it to be any more complicated than that. uh, but yeah, like in a situation that you're talking about, I don't know, man. I think those kind of guys, like we talked about the branding thing, getting out in social media and having people search you out, and that increases your brand recognition, which is a ranking factor. But not only that, after you're done producing content, and even though this is still kind of content, but like maybe you could start producing like some type of tools or um, a forum, user-generated content, stuff like that. Make your design more interactive, something like that.
Those are actually good ideas. One in this niche that I was looking into this week, the most popular site had a forum. So I guess with the bug thing, if you had a place where people could create and answer questions, that'd be free content production for you. Um, a tool like where you could enter the type of bug you have, and then it would bring up a list of home remedies and brands of like chemical bug killers or whatever. That'd be kind of cool. I guess you're right. If you really want to commit to the niche, you can get creative.
Yeah, I've been putting in a lot of thought into this kind of stuff lately, man. That Snowfall article really got me thinking about a lot of stuff. Like create.
Snowfall, is that the one where the New York Times one where they have the pictures moving?
Yeah, yeah, it's like all this whatever it is. I guess it's HTML5, or I'm not really sure. I was talking to my brother about it. He's a programmer, and he was kind of telling me a little bit about it. But I mean, it's basically they're telling the story, and it's text, text, text. I know you do, Nathaniel, but I don't know if viewers do. So you're reading the story, and then it gets to this part about where the avalanche happened, and then they show there's like a GIF or a GIF or whatever, or maybe just a short looping video. I'm not really sure what it actually is, but it shows like how the snow fell, and it gives you like the temperatures, and so it's really interactive content. And I've been thinking a lot about that, man, because everybody is out there just publish, 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 publish. Well, I mean, eventually that's going to go away. I mean, we're already starting to hear people talking about content shock and all this crap. So I think that's going to be the next thing, creating interactive content.
Yeah, uh, which is tough for me because I have no skills like that, and even creatively speaking, it's like something I don't even think about. The content train, it works for me, but I can see how having more interactive blog posts with like I don't know, choose your own destination type stuff, or like take a survey and it'll reveal certain parts of the post, or interacting with video, something like that. Yeah, that could be something cool for the future of blogging.
Yeah, and I think we'll get there, man. I think more and more people are starting to learn how to program too, and I think as the years go on, it's going to be easier for people like us to make stuff like that. Because I mean, think about it. I mean, I don't know when WordPress came out, but before that, it wasn't before 2000, right? So back in 2000, I don't know about you, but I couldn't have had a website or blog. No way. I had no idea how to make it. And I didn't start till, just a few years ago, but I'm just saying, until WordPress was available, that wasn't an option for us.
Yeah, like I'm so glad there are people behind the scenes who enjoy making this kind of stuff and making it user friendly. Um, just like I'm like, yeah, embed a video, I just copy and paste over there. Like I don't know what an iframe is. I don't know how any of that stuff works. Make it work for me.
Yeah, I am too. I think about that all the time. Like, what happens if these kind of people just get tired of this crap? They just give up. Like, that's what scares me, actually, man. Is like, like Matt Mullenweg, which is the WordPress creator there. If he gets tired of WordPress, and eventually he will. I mean, what's going to happen? I'm going to be screwed. I don't want to be. That's going to suck, man. But I'm hoping to have made my millions by then.
Yeah. Back on the ranking thing. How much do you think that plus ones contribute to rank? Like I know there's a lot of thing about likes and shares and blah blah blah. Uh, I don't know. I've never seen a post that made me think like, oh, okay, this guy has a lot of Google plus ones. That's probably why he's ranking. Very rarely do I see more plus ones than likes. And the more plus ones posts are always like Google plus people who, every day they're posting like, oh, Google plus is so awesome. Or they're like, their business is based on Google Hangouts or something. They're like in the Google plus crowd. Most of the time it's likes. So I wonder how much plus ones even matter.
Well, that's what this Moz chart again. That's why I wanted to bring this up because I feel the same way as you. You go to a normal website and there's like 800 likes and like 2 plus ones. But this Moz chart, man, I guess we should have given the domain name. So if you guys go to moz.com/search-ranking-factors, you'll see this chart that we're talking about. And again, this is an interactive piece of content because you can click on the different categories and it moves the chart to adjust for what factors you're choosing. So, but like through most of these, man, like I'm clicking right now, that's 2, 3, 4. Okay, so,
Wait, what was the URL again?
hold on.
Oh, there. Okay, it just took some time to load.
Yeah, sorry, the Moz rank. So if you click on the categories down there, see where it says sort by category, you'll see that this thing is
I'm gonna post it in the chat.
So there's 10 different categories here, and I just went through 4 of them. And for each one, the Google Plus one, the number of Google Plus ones was at least number 2, if not number 1, as a ranking factor. So that really says a lot to me, man. But is that with personalized search on? I would guess it would have to be, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So that's why I'm like Google Plus one thing. I'm like, that's really interesting. I assumed it would be on this chart, and I assumed it would be a pretty big ranking factor, but I didn't expect it to be number 1 and number 2 consistent. That's a lot, man.
Let me screen share here. Make sure I'm on the right. Is this the page?
Yeah, that's it. So if you scroll up right there, see where it says sort by category?
Huh?
You can actually click on those and it removes and adds some of these below it. See
Okay.
that? So you see the plus 1 is there again now. So if you like untick all of them.
Oh, and then tick 1 and then plus 1 pops up a lot?
Yeah. You've actually got them all ticked right now, I think. Or I guess it is unticked, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all unticked.
Okay. So go back and click them all right now and leave them on or off or whatever.
Okay, I see. Yeah, as you add them, the number of plus ones stays way at the top.
Yeah, so it's weird to me, man, that they are
Huh.
placing that much importance on it.
I would not have thought so.
I wouldn't have either.
And then I always wonder. Let me pull this off. How accurate are these stats? I know it's easy as me as a total beginner in this stuff, and also total ignorant of technical stuff, and I'm just commenting. But I see like the whole SEO. It's an industry, and it's like, dude, I don't really know how to vocalize what I'm trying to say here. It's like anything else. When money gets involved and there's hype around all kinds of stuff, um, are these actual ranking factors, or are people just putting out this content just because they need to be putting out content?
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to mention too, is that this chart, Oz even says it right here at the top. Okay, I'll read it to you. This year, Moz surveyed over 120 leading search marketers who provided expert opinions on over 80 ranking factors. So what you're seeing here is Moz has researched and asked 120 SEO experts.
That's the key factor. This wasn't even like an actual study into the domains. They just asked people. That's what I'm understanding, right?
Well, no, they're asking. So I read more about this. Let me see if I can find it here. But basically, they went, I think, on a page-by-page basis and then on a domain-level basis, and like researched what like how many links does this page have, and then they compiled all that data from each of those people. So it's not like they just said, "Oh yeah, well, I did this a lot." No, they actually like took the research in, and there's actual data backing it up.
Okay.
But here's my problem with that, and I actually do believe that it's relevant. But my problem is like this thing shows that backlinks are still effective. Well, the people that they asked, these are 120 leading search marketers. So search marketers do backlinking. So of course it's going to be a factor in this chart.
Oh.
So that's kind of what skews it for me. These are the people you're asking these questions to that are using this stuff, whereas the typical mommy blogger, the typical food blogger, probably doesn't even know what a +1 is. I mean, maybe they know now, but that makes sense to you. So they're still kind of skewed a little bit, I think.
Yeah, it's like, when you put the experts, when you have the experts doing something, it's a little bit different from, normal people. Whether it be that they do stuff more effectively, or that they pay attention to things that maybe normal people wouldn't pay attention to.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they're focusing on stuff that we wouldn't focus on, and therefore it wouldn't even. So like there should be like a way to like this kind of chart for people in every other niche besides like SEO and make money and stuff like that. That would be an interesting chart to look at.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like the Facebook like would be sitting on top at that point or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of the social stuff, do people actually use anything else besides the big ones, Twitter, Google Plus, Facebook? Like, do people use StumbleUpon or these other ones out there?
I think like well, like for instance with Reddit, they have a pretty loyal community of people, but I think those are mostly like programmer type people. I really don't know. Uh, but StumbleUpon, I've actually seen people talk about that's one of their favorite things. There was this like barbecue guy or something like that really loves StumbleUpon. So
Really?
yeah, I think they each have their own like miniature little communities.
Okay.
I think,
Like Dig. Whatever happened to Dig? Dig was hot stuff for a while, and then Dig totally made some wrong move.
Oh yeah, I've read about what they did too. Um, I think Facebook pretty much killed Dig or something like that. Maybe it was Reddit. I don't know, but yeah, they messed up. They took money. It's a business thing. One of those venture capital deals. They took money and did it at the wrong time or something. I don't know.
Dig was one that was stumbled upon, was popular for a while. Um, Tumblr, we talked about Tumblr before. That's kind of popular, but I guess it's really popular. But I don't know a lot of marketers that use it successfully in their strategy. Huh. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up see what happened to Dig right now, just out of curiosity. I remember.
But yeah, okay. So, what were you saying?
I'm just saying I remember reading about it, but I can't remember what it said.
So ranking factors we talked about today. We got like domain stuff going on with the domain, domain extension, domain name length, various whatever characters in your domain, keywords in the domain, brandability, and brand name mentions on social media. Really, social media plus ones or likes, shares, whatever. Backlinks, content production. Is there anything else that's super big in there?
Well, we were going to talk about niches, but I never did. What I really wanted to get to was your Bing thing. We didn't talk about keywords a whole lot. I think it's interesting, though, what you said about Bing. In the community, you mentioned that you were going to start running a paid ad or whatever, a PPC campaign through Bing, and they told you that the keywords were a factor?
Oh, right. So I was surprised. Anyone who does PPC, I talked to Bing on the phone. So I bought this product to review, and the gist of the product is that you basically bid on brand names in Bing and then direct link using your affiliate link, which most people say direct linking in Google is not allowed. This guy seemed to think it is allowed in some cases, but he didn't talk about what cases it was. He said you can get banned for it too. But in Bing, it's allowed. I tried it. I talked to Bing on the phone. You can direct link using an affiliate link. And in Facebook, it's allowed. And while I was on the phone with them, of course, the first two people I talked to didn't know what it was. They thought I was talking about a redirect. And finally I got someone who kind of knew what they were talking about. And they just happened to mention offhand that having meta keywords on the page that people land on can affect your quality score. And the higher your quality score, and I confirmed this, I called back and talked to a different person and they said this. They said it affects your quality score in Bing, and then your quality score is going to affect how much you're paying per click. But they also said that Bing still uses meta keywords as a ranking factor. And I've seen because I'm always doing product reviews for this make money online stuff, I see a lot of crappy sites rank, and I'm sure they have backlink profiles to them as well. But I wonder how much if they stuff meta keywords in there, if that helps them rank in Bing, because I'm sure they're keyword stuffing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just thought it was really interesting that they were willing to admit that keywords are still a ranking factor for them. So I guess maybe everybody knows that, but I didn't know that.
I don't know. Maybe I talked to two people who didn't know what they were talking about, but two different people told me. And the exciting news is, Chris knows I was excited when I was telling him that I found this niche, and I set up, it took me like a week of just tinkering away at the website. I finally set up a landing page, put a Bing ad with like 100 keywords, and they were all super cheap. And I made a sale on my first day. It was beautiful. Like it was It was like you should have seen the dollar eyes, the dollar signs in my eyes, just like cha-ching, cha-ching. I spent $10 the first day and I made $20, and I was like, this is great. If I can do this every day, that's however much money. And I was super excited. And then since then, it's kind of gone downhill. I spent 40 and made 20, so I spent double what I did a bunch of like changing around with keywords, and then I tried this direct linking thing, which hasn't worked so far at all. But anyway, that was what happened with me with Bing last week. Facebook was the same story. I didn't make a sale on Facebook, but I spent a bunch of money, not a bunch, some money in PPC, and the direct linking thing didn't work. So what I found out this week is warming people up to the sale it looks like, at least for this niche, is going to be important. But using what Jay said, we talked about this last week. Jay calls it the sniff test. It worked. Like, there was interest. I got clicks, a lot of clicks, and a high click-through rate. So there's definitely some interest there. I got to tweak the campaign.
And you did the sniff test, this initial sniff test, all on Bing, or?
Initially on Bing and then on Facebook, and both turned out well.
Cool, man. Well, that's really good news, actually. If you can do that type of testing without having to pay Google prices, I mean, that's great news, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, really, it cost me like, now I've spent more money because I let the campaigns go, but it was pretty clear right away. I spent like $30, and it was like 15 to 30% click-through rate, and 20 to 40 clicks on the first day on the ads. So there's definitely is an interest there. Facebook is pretty cool. That the way their ads are set up and how you can target people and audiences and interests is pretty awesome. Just like in this niche, I found a group of people in Facebook that specifically have an interest in this niche, and I basically blocked out. I did U.S. and Canada, only people interested in this niche, and it cost me like 20 cents a click. So I was pretty excited. I didn't make any sales off it, but it was pretty cool to have that.
Yeah, I like Facebook's thing a lot. A lot of big marketers, they're all about them Facebook ads too. And I think it's because of just what you said. You can really define your audience really easily and get your clicks like really maximized. So I enjoy it too. I haven't had a whole lot of luck with it, at least not lately. When I first started playing with it, I was doing really good. But at that time, I really got in there and spent some time on it. Now I go in there and I'm just like, okay, just set it up and get it going. So I got to get back in there and spend more time with it. But it's really fun. I think Facebook for the paid ads anyway.
If you have the money to spend on it. If you're trying to make it work, then it will probably piss you off for a while. Yeah. John's got a question here.
Oh, sorry. Let's see. John says, don't you think summer has something to do with that? I'm not sure what he's talking about.
He just left it when we were talking about the ad stuff. Do you mean like people buying stuff or high click-through rates? I'm not really sure how summer would affect it. Like, I could see one that people are on leisure time and maybe more willing to spend money to buy stuff. But at the same time, I could see that maybe people are on vacation, so they're away from the computer. Like, I would think that on the weekends, maybe it's just how I spend my free time on the computer. I would think on the weekends that people would spend more time on the internet, but I see a huge dip in traffic Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And maybe that's just my niche. It's funny. My traffic is like this. Friday it's like this. Saturday it's like this. Starts coming back up Sunday, and then it peaks on like Tuesday to Thursday.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing with my sites too. I think some of it is niche related, but I think just the majority of people they go off and do stuff on the weekend.
Okay, John's saying not buying. Um, yeah, it might be something with that. Maybe people are saving money for vacations.
Back to school.
They're just browsing and bored.
Yeah.
I've heard that sales can slip during summer and that they increase in the fall.
Yep, well, it's about that time, man. I love fall. My birthday is the day before Halloween, and I love it. I love the weather, the smell of the air. I'm pumped about it being this close, man. Halloween is awesome.
You a Halloween fan?
Oh, big time, yeah. Like I said, I'm born the day before Halloween, so how could I not be?
I'm surprised how big the Halloween costume niche is. Like that's something a lot of people go for. I don't know if it's just like because it's used as an example a lot or something like a dog niche. So many people are into various types of dog training because that's the uh, number one example that people use is dog training. So I think a lot of people get into dog training that's just because you have a dog, everyone has a dog, you know what to write about. Um, but if a lot of people are in it, I wonder if there's a lot of money to be made.
I don't know, man. That's one question I've always had about that niche too, because like I don't know. I guess people do spend a lot of money on their dogs, but most of the people I know, they the money they spend on their dogs is like health wise, like on checkups and shots and whatever they need. It's not like I don't know too many people that buy sweaters for their dog. You know what I mean? So I just don't know. Maybe in the training, like maybe like an ebook training guide, I can see that, but I just don't know where the money comes from in it.
It has to be going somewhere. I mean, lot of there's a lot of alternative dog type stuff like organic dog food or organic flea medicine or um, dog beds, crippled dogs. Uh, my mom spends a lot of money on dogs. She doesn't buy anything online, but she spends a lot of money on animals.
Yeah, I can see all that you mentioned that now, that kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely the food thing, but like you said, it's not online, or most people don't buy it. I don't think.
Yeah, it's one of the hard things for me is to always imagine or to realize that I'm not the only person buying stuff in the world. Like people have different habits. I'm like, buy dog food online. Who's stupid enough to buy dog food online? Obviously, someone is. So you have to kind of for me, I have to have that realization and think like, not everyone is as cheap as me. Not everyone has the same buying habits as me. Not everyone likes the same products as me. So
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't understand how anybody else could, how anybody could spend their Saturday morning not reading contentmarketingworld.com. I don't get it. Because that's what I do. I guess I'm a dork now. I don't know.
there's a good brand name site, SEO Dork. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, no. I wonder.
I bet you it's taken.
SEO dork.
Not available. $10 says there's not even a website on it.
There is. I'm at it right now.
Okay. Yeah, I got a pretty good site. It's one thing to find a domain that's taken and you're like, I'm not the only one that thought of it. But if you see that there's not even like a website on it and then some guy has a stupid link like, bid on this site. It's like, I'm not going to bid on that site.
I know. I hate that too. That does bother me bad. Or like mine, like my name, this guy that owns the site with my name, he's like some kind of weird I guess I shouldn't say that. He's like an art guy or something. Like he paints weird art stuff, and it's like I've been back to the site several times, and it never changes. It's just a stale site with all these weird art paintings on it. That sucks. It's like just sitting there wasting away.
Wow, insight from Judith here.
Yeah, let's see. Judith says, I have a site for Halloween and I make money year round, just about every day, and my site is crap. Okay. I should spend more time on it, but of course I don't. One of my oddball sites. It's one of her oddball sites when she first started online. Well, that's pretty good for an oddball site, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess if you rank for costume keywords, maybe people are buying costumes for other things, dress up parties, like I'm thinking other sort of costume related activities. Which, and I'm sure if you use your imagination, like a naughty nurse costume or some, along that lines.
Yeah.
Plenty of costume opportunities year round.
Yes, there is. That is cool, though. Thanks, Judith, for telling us that. Yeah, cool, man. Well, that's a pretty good note to end it on. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we need to add? I think we got it all. We did. Well, actually, we did just kind of talk about niches. So.
Yeah, maybe we can dig more into niches and keywords next week. I know you both, for anyone watching, Chris and I both, we usually use Jaxie, but we both downloaded and tried Longtail Pro. So we're going to kind of talk about our experiences with those and some of the differences and advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, and I'm still kind of waiting on some more information to kind of test that out a little bit more. So yeah, maybe we can talk about that next week when I have the rest of that info. We'll know more.
Yeah, maybe it'll give me time to get my post out. I've been taking notes, so just gotta get my post done.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that's going to be it. We'll be back here next Thursday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. All right.
Later, guys.
See you.